Hi, Carol.
Hello, Nancy. Hi, everybody. Without our bodies.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you keeping warm?
Oh, yes. I've been outside a lot though. The birds are eating like fury. Uh, so I'm trying to keep up with them. Yep.
Yeah.
And I've been hiking around. The roads aren't too bad. But it's chilly. But boy, we skated in weather like this, years ago.
I bet you did.
So you just learn to dress for it.
That's right. The Finns say there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear.
Um, in 1953, I think it was. Yeah, 1953. The temperature in Madison went down to 30. That's the coldest it's ever been here. 37 below. I went to West that day, West High School that day. The schools were not closed. Everything was open. 37 below.
Yeah.
SG&E came to our house and went through all the neighborhoods, knocked on the doors to make sure that your furnaces were working.
Yeah. That's a different time.
Mm.
Yeah. Yep. Hmm. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, there was a night that it got down to 25 below. Um, and we had a wood stove
Oh,
heating the house,
oh, wow.
integrated with the ductwork, in the basement wood stove that would then have a blower to,
Oh, that's the kind of
distribute the heat.
thing.
Yeah, my dad was really worried that the electricity would go off and that there would be a fire. And that's what I remember about that night. I think I was like 10. And yeah,
And where were you?
downstate Illinois, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, down just south of Champaign-Urbana. It was I don't think they've seen temps anywhere near that since then. Yeah.
And I giggle at the weathermen on the television who get all excited about, hmm, it's going to be 18 or 15 or something. And well, anyway, they have their job to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Plus talking with all of our friends and relatives in other places who recently got snow, you
oh,
know.
yes. Oh, well, better than Tennessee, which is all ice. And
Yeah, that's right.
they're falling down, and the power's going to be out there for weeks.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. All right, let's see. Who do we have here? We've got one, two, three, four members of the committee. Um, I'm expecting more than that. Hey, Katie. And Katie is here,
Hi, Katie.
um, who is taking over for Chrissy. Yeah. Um, well, with four of us, we can begin, but I kind of feel like waiting for a couple minutes.
Uh,
Um,
it, it is
Jeremy,
now 5:30.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I have heard from Jan that she will be late, so I don't want to wait for her. But I'm wondering, I haven't heard from Roma, uh, and I haven't heard from Jeremy. So,
Or,
um,
or May.
May is not going to make it, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not heard from Roma either, but I did also, yeah, I heard from May. So,
Okay. Okay. Well, let's go ahead because we got four of us and we only have so much time. Katie has another meeting at 7, so we can't dilly-dally. We gotta
Mhm.
move it along. Okay. So I'm gonna call us to meeting to order. Calling meeting to order at 5:31. This is a meeting of the Parks Committee of the Village of Shorewood Hills. It is Tuesday, January 27th. All right. So I'm going to call the roll. Barford, I'm here. Boutwell,
Here.
Brock,
Here?
Hayden.
Here,
Okay, Lenahan, I'm gonna put absent. Maybe we'll be revising that. Rogers, I'm also gonna put absent. Tamoric is excused. So I heard from Jan. We also have our liaison from the Garden Club, May who is excused. We have also with us Katie Ballinger from the Village Admin Office. We have Forester Patrick Finnegan. And we were going to have Assistant Forester Ben, but did I fail to reach out to him or?
No, he's having technical difficulties right now
Okay.
with his computer. He's unsure of if he'll be able to connect or not.
Okay, well, since he's not formally somebody who has to attend, I'm just gonna cross him out. And then, if he can attend.
Carol,
he-
just a
can-
heads up that JD Rogers was in the waiting room. I didn't realize that it was set for waiting room. I don't even know how I did that. So I
Oh.
did just let them in, so they are here.
Okay, so Jeremy's here. Okay, very good.
And Katie, do we need to be recording this?
Oh, I started the live stream. I guess I did not start the record. I'm sorry about that.
Live
Thank
stream.
you. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's on Facebook, but I didn't hit that record button. So thank you so much, David. I'm gonna close my camera and mute, but if you need me, I'm here. I just only have one screen to work off of, so just let me know if
Gotcha.
you need anything.
Okay, thank you very
We'll
much,
miss you.
Katie. So, but we still don't see Jeremy. Did we lose him somehow? In between the waiting room and here? Hopefully he'll try to log in again.
I think it was me. I think he's in now.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you, Jeremy. We got you. We got you as present.
Okay, good. I've been
Yeah.
on for about 5 minutes, but
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
yeah, okay.
You've only missed the call to order and the roll call. That's all.
Okay.
All right. Katie, are we in compliance with open meeting law?
Yes, we are in compliance and the meeting was posted.
Thank you. All right. Approval of the minutes. Let's have a motion and a second, and then we'll talk about the minutes. Anybody move?
I so move.
Okay, I'm going to give Nancy moves and David seconds. All right, so let's discuss. First of all, I believe May was noted as present at the last meeting, but I don't think she was there. So let's remove May from the tally of those present.
You got it.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to say she was absent because she's not a member of the committee per se, but so I'll leave that up to you, Katie.
I'll check with Julie and just see what
Okay.
the correct way would be, but I'll update that. Not a problem.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion of the minutes?
One of the things I wanted to ask about in point number 10, we had a number of things in there that we were thinking about putting on the agenda the next week. Some of these things are not reflected in the agenda that we're
Today.
doing today. So
Yeah.
let's not forget them. And
Yeah.
be sure that there are a number of things in there that I really am focused on. And so let's be sure they show up someplace else. Like,
Okay. So when we get to, there are a number of things that are on the future agenda items on this agenda.
we
So
are
if- yeah.
addressing a couple of them on this one, but
Okay.
there are things in there that
Okay, well, if you can note them when we get there, that'd be great.
Okay.
Anything else about the November minutes? Any other? Okay, all right. So Katie, can we vote on them as amended?
I believe so, yes, as long as we all agree that the only update will be to adjust May's inclusion.
Okay. Does
Fine.
that sound good to everybody? Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and vote then on the amended minutes. All in favor of approval?
I,
Great. Yeah, right. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. All right, public comments, an opportunity for community members to speak. Do we have anybody, Katie?
Not unless.
Besides Annette, yes, we have Annette. So yeah, Annette, would you like to say
It's the right
something?
time. I mean, I
This
don't know.
is the
right-
time, yes.
So I guess we've been playing back and forth about, is this piece of property that I keep harping on, which is on the corner of Sumac, Edge Hill Parkway and Lake Mendota Drive, opposite the triangle that I tend. And it's neglected, and we addressed it slightly with the, what's the committee that takes care of?
Public Works?
Yeah, thank you. So there was a discussion with them, which had to do with maybe tidying it up a little more, mowing it more carefully, but that's kind of where it was left. And David and I casually off committee anything talked about that area, and there was a discussion of where is the property right, and it may actually be a larger piece of property than we thought it was, which again is something I don't know the answer to. And I still would love to have that piece of property tended to in some way without it being a triangle. And again, you had sort of mentioned in the last meeting that you were looking at, there are several bits and pieces of village property that fall into this category of what do we do with them? Whose responsibility is it? What can be done with it? What do we want to do with it? And I would guess that this piece is one of those which I would advocate we would want to do something with. So what else can I share with you?
So I guess, Annette, maybe what are the characteristics that you would like to change or you hope that you would like to have improved?
First of all, there is an old bench that is dilapidated and should probably be dealt with. It's probably not very safe to sit on, or that would be a bunch of money to remove it because there is a cement pad. If we were to get a new bench, which possibly Garden Club could sponsor. I'm just a member. I can't say what the Garden Club will do, but you have a question or?
Yeah, can you repeat? I was trying to,
Where it is?
yeah, picture this.
Lake Mendota Drive, Edge Hill Parkway, where Sumac comes in. It's
Okay.
that funny.
Yep.
So the triangle that's established, and then there's the garbage can,
Thank you.
the stop sign, and the bench, which together make a wonderful place to sit. I mean, I'm being facetious. It's one of the least desirable ways to position a bench next to the garbage can and by the stop sign, so the cars will stop right next to you and could say hello, I guess. So my idea had been to, first of all, also designate to the Lake Mendota corner there, further back away from the point, is to make a corral of some kind so that the debris that the neighbors put in, like branches, or you have garden clippings, I myself put them there because there's not a good place to put garden waste that the village picks up once a week. If we could do some kind of a designated little containing area to make that look neater, it's a little less chaotic when it's contained as opposed to just anywhere. I had sent some pictures where there's a lot of, pardon the voice, I can't help that. There's a lot of debris that comes and goes, and it's just really unsightly. And then again, if the actual property were deeper than it appears to be, then there really is room to put a bench further back, kind of where that trunk is in the middle of the island there. And maybe put the garbage can somewhere else. And that was discussed as to the Public Works Committee said that's a pelletary can, and that's where they put it. And I wondered if it could be the kind of garbage can that's maybe smaller and less obnoxious right there, and could be cleaned out by the village crew, which is kind of what happens in the parks, but that may be more work than wants to be adopted by the village crew. So I'm thinking of attractive bushes of some kind, or some kind of edging that could be, that you don't get this curb thing. You can see that the degraded corner on the Lake Mendota side, it's just a mess there. You know, rocks are not great for the winter because then they get scooped up by the snow plows, but there has to be something that could be done. So
All
I
right.
end there.
Thank you very much, Annette. And I think you'll find that when we get to that, item in the agenda, that both Patrick and David have some things to say about your suggestions. So anyway, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing this. All right, Katie, do we have anybody online? And by the way, and now we have Jan, who has joined the meeting, I'm going to say at 5:44. And we have Ben, who has joined the meeting at, I don't know when.
That was probably 5 or 6 minutes ago. I
Okay.
let them both in, but I think it just took Jan a minute to get in.
Okay, so we'll say 5:44 for both. Okay, does that work?
Works.
All right. Okay, so that's public comments. Thank you, Annette. We're on to the Forester's report.
Hello, everyone. It's been a little bit since we last met. And so I'm excited to share my report over that time period with you guys. It's a new year in the village. That means, fresh opportunities for us to do various projects around to impact and improve the village canopy. Since we last met in November, the department has transitioned our priorities to better align with these winter conditions we currently find ourselves in. And we've also added a new assistant, Ben. Ben has a lot of experience with tree work and has worked privately in the village multiple times. So far, he's been an excellent addition to the department, and so yeah, he's just been really good so far. On top of that, we've also been working on several other projects around the village, making good use of our time and things like that. Um, Over the past few months, there have been a few contracted works happening throughout the village. Um, couldn't quite remember if I included this in the November report, but we did complete our winter rotation of street tree pruning. We completed Amherst, Bowdoin Road and Triangle, Yale, the east side of Village Hall, and Edgehill Drive. I'm already in contact with the contractor again to organize our upcoming rotation at the end of February, beginning of March, and that's kind of what it's looking like for time frame right now. Um, Other than that, we've had one tree removed and a few spot prunes done throughout the village. The tree that was removed was a black walnut on the top of Hunter Hill. That was it had a pretty low sprawl and was showing some signs of some issues on the unions. So I made that call to have that tree removed. Um, Outside of contracted jobs around the village, we've also been undertaking our own projects. One of those projects has primarily been the reseeding of the marina post the tree removals that took place in the fall. So we were able to go out and spread seed one time before it got super cold here, and yeah, everything went really well with that. We were able to get a good layer down, and then we were able to get some more snow on top of it to protect it from the birds and things like that. So everything worked out in that regard. I'm hoping to be able to get out there and seed the area again to really make sure we get a good establishment of plants down, and that area will be monitored continuously over the next year to ensure that it's doing what we want it to do. Um, another project that we've been taking up over the past few months has been a understory improvement project throughout some of the village parks. This basically entails going through the understory and the midstory of our village parks and removing undesirable species, cutting and treating them to make space for more desirable native trees to be able to regenerate themselves and to give us room to sustain that goal with planting. Um, so far our primary park that we've been working in has been McKenna on the western slope north of the bridge, or south of the bridge, I should say, sorry. So far in there, we have found primarily black cherry infected with black knot fungus, Norway maple, and catalpa, along with buckthorn and honeysuckle and things like that. Um, so we have removed quite a few truckfuls of brush from McKenna, and that work will continue throughout the winter months, and I'm hoping to be able to get through as many as parks as I can while the weather provides, and then continue that project further on down the line. Um, a lot of these species they occupy the best growing real estate for our native tree species, and they basically give these species that we want in the parks, they give them no chance to even establish themselves. And so kind of that thing to come in and remove the undesirables to make room is really, I feel like, important. And like I said, we'll be sustaining that objective with targeted plantings in parks that need it, that may lack a seed source or any other factor. And then probably a major project that we're working on right now has been restarting of the village tree purchasing program for residents. Um, I'm planning on bringing that program back and making that available to anyone who would like to purchase a tree at the municipal rate. There will be some caveats to my version of the program compared to how it existed in the past. Um, One of those parts that I'm changing is setting a predetermined list of tree species to that residents can purchase. That list should be included in the meeting packet, so I'm more than happy to discuss the species on there if anyone sees anything that's been missing or anything like that. And then, yeah, this is just a really good opportunity I feel like for the department to be able to further the objective of planting desirable native species on private property, and just even, street side terrace, that kind of thing as well. I guess one of the other major changes that I'm making is planting responsibility for the trees. It will be included as a reminder for people that if they do want their tree that they ordered to be planted on their own property, then they are responsible for doing the planting and the maintenance and things like that. If they would like the tree to be planted in the terrace area out front of their house or on any other village property adjacent to their property, then we would be more than happy to do that planting. Yeah, I'm excited to get this project off the ground and get this program out to the residents of the village. I've received lots of feedback from people saying that this was a desirable program that they wish to see come back. So I'm happy to be able to make that happen. Other than that, I mean, looking forward to the next few months, where Ben and I are going to be looking to continue working through the parks as the weather allows, as well as reviewing the areas that we worked on in the marina and things like that. Yeah, we were we're going to continue the species composition work and everything like that into as far as we can into the growing season, and then resume that work once the weather allows in the following winter time. Yeah, and other than that, Ben and I are going to be attending the Wisconsin Arborist Association conference in Green Bay coming up from February 17th through 19th, I believe. I believe it is in Green Bay. So we're both looking forward to that. I'm also planning on completing my arborist certification exam while we are in Green Bay on that day. So hopefully around that time, finally be able to take care of that certification. Um, yeah, and really since the new year has started, we've been able to upgrade certain parts of our operation with the village. That includes purchasing or upgrading our chainsaw array. So we got some new, more fuel efficient, better emissions chainsaws, things like that. And then we also are going to be purchasing a piece of specialized tree work equipment for our front loader that will allow us to be more efficient in our various operations, whether that be assisting the contractor while street tree pruning or removing brush from the parks during the understory improvement project. I really think that will help us out. Um, and yeah, Ben and I are excited to keep working and to have that growing season right around the corner. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Anybody got questions for Patrick? I saw Jeremy and then Nancy.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. That sounds great. Nice report. On your list, I was wondering if it's not too much trouble, I think it would be helpful to have parenthetically the genus species names on these, just because sometimes
Sure.
common names have some overlap.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, this was a kind of a rough list that I threw together
awesome.
before the meeting, and I really just wanted to get a list of species in front of you guys to see, if there was anything left out or anything that you would like to see added, that kind of thing.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Nancy.
Pertaining to the list again,
Sure.
I put a couple of these on here, and I'd like to discuss them. Number one, as a matter of fact, is a hemlock, and we have a hemlock disease that is spreading quite rapidly from the East Coast to here, and I'm just wondering if that's something that we have to look at, and should we be planting any more hemlocks with this? I mean, it is coming fast. I think it's in Michigan by now. Okay, so that's my first remark. Then down where you have Japanese lilac. I know that the city had been planting those as an understory. They are almost like a nuisance tree. I'm not happy to see that on there. And if anybody wants to justify its position, they can. I really don't care for them. And you can't trim the blossoms off, and those things hang on there forever. Plus, they're rather susceptible to disease. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Keep going.
Okay, number 33, paper birch. Now, paper birch has such a limited place where it can be used. If you're going to be selling that tree, don't let people put it in their front lawn, which they have been doing forever and ever. And they live there for about 8 years and they just can't make it. And that's a tree that I would question. River birch, I love. It's tough and it grows lovely. The paper birch is a difficult tree to grow. So those are my remarks about this, and that's all points that can be discussed that were just off the top of my head. Plus, you made a remark about planting trees, and you said something like, we will not pay for planting, but you can have us plant in areas that are, and then you said adjacent to our property or something like that the village would pay for. What I'm wondering, if I would like to buy 2 or 3 trees for planting in our parks, that's not adjacent to my property. Now, I don't know if I'm picking very little nitpicking here, but I would like that to be available I could buy a couple trees that by your advice, where we need them, they could be planted. In other words, you didn't really mean what you said when you said adjacent to your property. I'm sure you didn't mean that.
Well, I guess in that context, I was more speaking towards the people whose properties like butt up to village parks.
Yeah, I know
Because
you were, but
yeah,
you left it at that. But I want this other available too.
sure. No, yeah, I totally understand that.
And
And
I'm
that
sort
and
of assuming it is, but
yeah.
the other kind of, I went, wait a minute. There's other ways we can. Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
mean, my goal, my philosophy with planting in the first place, I guess, is that I like to balance plantings between streets and parks. Right. So like I always, whenever I have a tree order come in there, I always dedicate 3 to 4 of those trees to go into our most needed areas in our parks. So that's something that I'm already considering of, and I'd be more than happy to include that possibility for residents to sponsor more
Yes,
trees to be planted in our parks.
great.
100%. In terms of hemlock woolly adelgid, I have quite a bit of experience with that when I was in college because
Oh,
it was present in Vermont while I was in school there. And
okay.
so they're basically from what I remember is that it's a very difficult insect to manage for, and really the best solution, like you mentioned, Nancy, is to plant, plant, plant. Get as many hemlocks into the ground as possible. And I guess it depends on when the insect establishes itself in the state, right? Pre-establishment, we want to just be observant, and we want to be watching our current specimens and things like that, and continuing to plant at the same rate that we are, but just being to be observant and cognizant of like what of the keeping an eye on the health factors and things like that for the trees. And then once the insect becomes established in the state, then it's almost like an ash situation in my mind, where we don't want the tree to be removed completely the from the landscape, and so we may have to supplement that with extra plantings down the line depending on how severe the infestation is. Um, and yeah, no, David, I saw your hand there. If you have any comments on that, please feel free.
I think Jeremy was up first there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
Jeremy then.
I just really quick, in all of this discussion, actually, what I would love to see is, in addition to mostly when I said before, parenthetically providing species names, that's for some of the ones that are a little bit ambiguous with common names. But then I was thinking, as part of this discussion, it might be helpful to also have like an asterisk or something, or some indication of which species are native, because I know
Sure.
that there are a lot of residents and a lot of people on the committee that are a big fan of seeing the native things promoted specifically. And then that brings up the question of which of these or what are our intended policies on plantings in the parks, which is of course really the purview of this committee. And I'm wondering if we have any ideas of, if people are interested in sponsoring a planting in the park, are we going to limit that to native species, or at least native adjacent species that would,
So
help thrive? Yep.
yeah, basically exactly what you said. If someone were to make that decision to sponsor a planting on the park, that would shrink the size of the available species list even more so than what is currently available.
Good.
Currently what's on the list is, a combination of both street trees, trees that have good aesthetics. I guess in terms of the Japanese lilac, that is a tree species that is still recommended by the state DNR to be planted in the terrace area, and so I included it just because the DNR. I mean, it's not necessarily a species that I'm super favorable of too, but again, the DNR It's on the DNR's list. So there was a species that I was really considering for discussion
You
here.
could you could potentially even have parenthetically, native, comma recommended, native
Yeah.
not recommended. A couple of things just to guide people so
Yep.
that they know a little bit
Yep.
more. It would be helpful, I think. So
No,
thanks.
paper birch was another one of those species where I was unsure of its place on the list, and I wanted to include it simply for discussion's sake.
Okay, I believe we have Kathy had her hand up, and then David, and then Nancy again.
Oh, David was ahead of me, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to echo Nancy's recommendation or suggestion to remove Japanese lilac.
Yeah.
As well as paper bark birch. It's just too tricky and
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
And then you have shagbark hickory. That also has some disease and pest issues coming into the state. But
Really?
yes, it isn't here yet, and it's not widespread because shagbark hickories are not very widespread. But the bitternut hickory seems to be resistant. So I would look into the possibility of adding the bitternut, but that's not really
I'm really
not
concerned about
edible.
canker. I'm really
And-
concerned about canker with bitternut too. I mean,
Okay.
they're super susceptible to that bitternut canker.
Okay.
And as soon as they get infected with that, they don't last very long on the landscape anymore, and they become very unsafe.
Yeah.
So I guess that again that could be a species where maybe it could be like a one-off case kind of thing if someone would like
Well,
to see that on
I-
private, or just not at all.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to over advocate for that. So it's up
Okay.
to you. Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe that's it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I can't.
We hear you.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Yes.
It doesn't turn green though. Oh, well. Yeah, I would make a strong plea for planting native. Some of the hybrids that are on here, and some of the more, I don't know, is arborvitae, is that a native? It's so overused that it makes me cringe a little.
I mean, I learned the species as northern white cedar. So, I mean, it is a native species. It is just heavily cultivared for urban use.
Yeah, well, okay. But anyway, I've always wondered if Kentucky coffee it's not native. And we've got quite a few of them as street trees, and they make me cringe when I go by. So I would say that stressing the native trees for street trees and for private landowners to plant in their yard. I would say that at least half of the landowners, of the residents, have no idea what native trees are and why they would be nice to have. That's just my feeling. Some of the hybrid maple, that's because it's got pretty red leaves, I guess. And is the Japanese lilac, is that the one with the great big bunches of white flowers on? Yeah, I mean, that's horrible. I really hate that tree.
I haven't had much success planting them in the past.
Good.
I know Adam liked to plant them, but I haven't had much success. So again, that was a discussional species in my mind.
Yeah, well, I would just, and honey locust is a very messy tree for a street tree, I would think. I think that makes big seed pods. Some of them do anyway. So I would be much less permissive, or I would be happy to see the list become less varied, I guess, and more restricted to natives. But that's my understandable prejudice.
Yeah, I guess I can provide some justification for why I decided to put both of those species on there. In terms of the Kentucky coffee tree and the honey locust, both of those trees kind of fall in the same category in my mind. They are the most resilient street trees.
I bet. Yeah.
They can withstand the most road salt, and they can withstand, serious wounds and things like that. And so for that reason, they are a desirable tree to plant on roadsides. Now, depend you really got to be careful with the sheer number, because like you said, they can be kind of a headache if you have to do any maintenance on them or anything like that. Um, but they are resilient. They do stand up well. They provide good shade in the summer. Um, so I mean that again, that those two species, I guess, can be more of like we gotta have species that can only be planted, or the parks can only be planted in the parks, and trees that can only be planted on the street, kind of
Yeah.
thing, maybe.
Okay.
I think that we can have more discussion about that going forward to really narrow down where we want this program to go, kind of thing.
Thank you.
All right, I believe we had, we had Nancy and then David, and then we really got to move on because we got a lot more to do.
Mine is short. Kudos for not putting ginkgo on this list.
No, I know how you guys feel about ginkgo at this point. I didn't want to risk that.
Thank you.
All right, David, and then I believe Jan has not had a chance yet. So David, then Jan.
Oh,
There we go.
okay. So process. In the past, we had two resident tree purchases, once in the spring and once in the fall, and it helped balance out the workload for the forester. So you may not want to front load everything into the front of the year. Evergreens, of course, work quite well in the fall. And then screening in the parks. We've pretty much have a policy within the Parks Committee that we don't plant screening trees in our parks for the benefit of homeowners. If they wish to have screening, they plant them on their property, on their lot. But we don't plant rows of arborvitae in our parks
Yeah, that's good.
to provide screening for residents.
I think the species need to be further reduced into certain categories, and then residents can choose a species based on whatever category they choose to fill. So whether they want a street tree, a backyard shade tree, anything that they might need, they can select a species from a predetermined category that fits within what they would like to see, kind of thing. So there's going to be many amendments to this program going forward. This is going to be something that I work on toward looking forward to the next meeting as well. So
Great. So we'll see it again.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Patrick. I just wanted to say welcome to Ben. That's awesome that you're here. We've been hoping for an assistant forester for many, many months. So welcome. And I also wanted to say I'm really psyched to hear about the work at McKenna. That was mentioned by Kathy and me many times during the planning and never quite bubbled to the top. So the fact that it's already happening is very exciting. Yeah. Yeah. So thank
it
you.
was I had done some field work with some of the naturalists from the county, from Dane County, and they were talking about their sort of winter work process, what the things that they do in their parks and the areas that they're responsible for, and this was their primary task. And so I think going forward, this is going to be something that the department really prioritizes once the winter time comes around.
Good.
So
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. All right. That was the report.
Jan still has something.
Oh,
she
did we not? Okay. Sorry,
No,
Jan.
I have the quickest little question, and maybe you already went over this, but how will the public know about this now that we don't seem to have a bulletin?
So it's going to be, I plan on having Nixle alerts, using the Nixle system to alert people when, a couple weeks prior to when I'm planning on putting in my, like, the village's tree order, to hopefully piggyback on that. And then I'm gonna have to look at other channels of communication. I haven't quite narrowed down how I'm best able to get the furthest word spread to as many people as possible. But that is something that I'm gonna be working with other people in the village, in the administration and things like that to figure out the best way to go about getting that out.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. That's just sounds so great.
Yeah, no problem.
Wonderful. Thanks. Nancy, sorry, I can't, we got to move on. Maybe we can find a way to,
This is just short. When are we cutting the tree on topping the oak tree? Is that coming down?
Next Monday.
Okay.
Next Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I actually talked to the contractor about that today. I'm pretty sure they just never included us in their list because I emailed them and called them, and the next day they were like, "You're on for Monday," and I
All
was
right,
like,
all right. I'll be
"All
there.
right." Yep.
all right. Discussion of Dane County historical marker placement at McKenna Park. We were going to try to invite Kurt Kodal from the Dane County Historical Society. He couldn't, or that's not the name of the group, David. It's not exactly that. Historical Commission, something like that.
Dane County Historical
Historical-
Preservation Commission.
Gario, thank you. He couldn't come tonight, but we can talk about it. And I have another image. That's done. That details some of the choices.
Carol, while you're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
a little bit of context here, the Parks Committee had made a recommendation, I believe, in the early summer for placement up on Lake Mendota Drive. They came back to us and asked if we would reconsider because they wanted it to be closer to the site. I went out and looked at Dane County Historical Preservation Commission, and they really go to some very obscure locations. They're not in the business like the state and the city and the county where they're trying to get a lot of eyeballs on it. They want to go to the site. And some of the sites they are proposing right now are like on these tiny little side roads, lost way out in the back of the county, next to trees behind homes and things like that. I mean, they really are out there, and it's historical preservation. So this isn't like the state project where they want big roadway signs and things like that. Just a little context. So they're asking to go down toward the boathouse. Yeah.
Thanks, David. I mean, when David described this for me before, it almost seems like a message in a bottle kind of situation. They
Yeah.
they just want the signage there with the thing. So I've put up the meat of the proposal from Mr. Kodal. And I think we've kind of seen these choices before. Where I forget if he himself had this idea or if David and I had kind of talking about it, zoomed in on if they want it to be put on the boathouse itself, we might want to consider putting it on the overlook part of the boathouse on one of the posts in such a way that the viewer can look and see the post and see the lake. So I guess I'd like to give it one time around for people to give their opinions about this sign, if you have one. I'm also, so it could be laminate interpretive sign, and I'm going to give you an idea of what that looks like. David just sent me this today as a reminder, and I think this is what you meant, David. Gonna share that. Is this the one you meant, David?
It's the one on the overlook. I think it's preceding this.
Oh, okay. That, okay, that.
Yes.
Okay.
So there they are. So
So
this
that's
was the ad
laminate
hoc.
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there are those. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can reshare the list. Yeah, Jeremy.
I actually really like this. I mean, I know we had this discussion before, and we had a lot of ideas about it's not going to have visibility if it's up on the road and everything. But I really, honestly, I agree with this. I think that it's great if you're down there enjoying the space and you're in that basically picnic area, which is a pavilion with a roof over your head. That's actually better. I mean, I think that the two options that would be close, or maybe three options, right? One is inside the actual pavilion. One is down on the waterfront, and I think that would be challenging. I think it would wear poorly. I think it would get a lot of abuse from weather and things, and waves and ice. And the other is maybe up on the side where there's a bench that's up the stairway, and that's sort of out of the way and even less trafficked. So I personally really like the idea of something inside the pavilion, and whether it is vertically mounted on one of the posts, which you could argue might obstruct some of the view, or like this shows where it's maybe a little bit inclined and set down against that railing. I think this is a good option, and I recognize there's some disadvantages of having it down there, but I really do like that. I think it's more protected, and it would give you a much better view out over the lake in the area where where these things are. That's all.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, anybody else? I'm gonna stop sharing so that I can see all of you again. Kathy, and then Jan, and then Nancy.
My thought is that I can't see the figures now, but if it's 42 inches wide, as Jeremy just said, down low, so when you're standing reading it, you can see the lake over it. If it's up on a vertical post, it almost certainly would be up high enough to interfere with the view. And I think it would look really awkward. If it was vertically oriented, that would be better if it has to be on a vertical post. But
Yeah.
if it's possible to make it down low at an angle, the way that one we saw, that would probably be least disruptive to people looking at it.
Thank you. Thanks, Kathy.
Carol-
Okay.
Carol, do we want
Hang
to go
on.
through the photos?
I could whip through those. They're in the packet, so everybody has it, right?
What is it we have?
You have the photos that David took just lately of
I don't think I saw those in the packet.
Yeah, they're after, yeah. They're
Oh, really? Okay,
after
I'm
all
sorry.
the
down
verbiage.
at the
It's okay.
bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what they were all for, but yeah.
Let me see if I can pull those up. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, if you have a sign on, a 42-inch wide sign on one of the vertical wooden posts, that's pretty obstructive.
Okay, so here we are. We
Yeah.
know where we are. They're a little closer. Get an idea of the width of those beams. I mean, kind of right here is, I think, the idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say
Yeah.
if it was a small plaque that was narrow and just had some words on it, just a commemorative kind of thing, vertically on one of those posts would be great. But if it's one of these
Yeah.
larger laminated things, there's huge advantages to it being inside, because
Yep.
often I love those things. I love them in all kinds of parks. I see them all over the place, and they often get delaminated with sun exposure, and they end up having water ingress, and you can't read anything. So here it's protected, and I think it would be really ideal, and especially if it's low behind that that railing chain link fence, it would be a beautiful thing to have there. So I'm for it.
Nice. Okay, I think we had next Jan.
I think my question has been answered now, actually, with these photos. Yeah, I had to just look at the photos again. Sorry.
No worries.
Go ahead.
Okay, then Nancy.
And I don't want it in the boathouse. I really like it up where you're sitting on that bench and you can look right out over the lake and you can have it in front of you. I still think that's fine. And yes, Jeremy, these things do disintegrate, but then you replace it or whatever. I just think that that is more appropriate than having it down at the other area if you're going to be not featuring or whatever. That's a, I don't know, Jeremy, have you ever gone down there in an evening, a hot evening, and everybody's running around? No one's going to be looking at a sign. And I just think putting it up on this wonderful bench area, picnic area as you come down to look at the lake. And this other is recreation, the boathouse and the boats and the people. So
true. Yeah.
that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Nancy. David, did you want to weigh in? I don't know if you actually weighed in before or if you were just clarifying.
Yeah. Well, Kurt had provided that list of locations, and he was still promoting the possibility of the single post lollipop sign that we had kind of approved for up on the Lake Mendota Drive. But that single post and a double post version of that would be on the inland side of the boathouse, there at the big kind of turnaround area in front
Oh.
of the boathouse. But as you saw in one of the slides, there's already the hours of the park sign, no parking sign. Off to the side, there's another sign. So as you would be greeted going down there, you'd be seeing five signs.
That's no good.
And
It'd be
I don't
like
think that's the plan.
NASCAR
Yeah.
signage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did like the idea of the vertical wall plaque mounted on one of the posts on the pavilion under cover. Yeah, narrow, vertical, and it would be 20 inches wide and 20 high, 29 wide. So it would be that would be more horizontal is what they're recommending. But if we told them we wanted vertical, I think they would accommodate that.
So we just have discussion here. We didn't have action.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wait for Kurt to come. I think he
Okay.
wanted to attend. So I think we'll see this again.
Read those dimensions again, if you would. What'd you say, 29 tall?
29 wide, 20 high.
You know
That-
what? I think you can put it in the chat.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
is big.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Jan.
I agree that it would be nice along that chain link fence at the front of the covered picnic area because I don't think that's all recreation. I've often seen people standing there to look at the sunset and just watch the boats from up there. And I feel like that would be appropriate if it's a horizontal, the chain link fence is not very pretty. So why not have a plaque that's maybe pretty or at least interesting in front of the chain link and it's not blocking the view? And I think a significant number of people would see it there.
Yeah.
That's
All
my
right.
opinion.
Thank you. Thanks, Jan. Okay, we've been around. I got some notes. Hopefully we can get Mr. Kodal next time. Nancy or David, would you like to say any words about the Bird City event coming up next month?
Well, I can start out generally and then David can fill in. We are all set. We have the room. We have an incredible fellow that Glenn Chambliss will be giving us the talk. I had David come in and meet him. David will be introducing him. And I talked to Erica Moser, who usually does the introduction. She was thrilled. David was concerned he was stepping on her toes. She was thrilled. And the people that bring the food, which is Diane Dempsey, they're all set. And SOS, which is Lisa Gomna, Save Our Songbirds, will be there with her production of things and all of her correct coffees and correct chocolates and things, all from significantly growing wonderful places in South America. And we'll have, and that's about it. Lots of good things that the Garden Club will bring. And we start at 6:30, 7 o'clock. The talk will be, and Glenn is going to talk for about 45 minutes and then have a Q&A afterwards. And David is going to be our master of ceremonies. Okay. And then David, you can tell about plugging into the Bird City stuff. And do we have I don't know if Roma did this, but I think we're going to have a blast. I think David will know about this.
Yeah, I'm working with Katie on communications. There's something in this upcoming newsletter, and then another version that we will put out the week prior over the Nixle Blast. Katie, do you have an update on the newsletter? Is that?
I do. I'm waiting on one more statement that I need for some of one of our trustees, and then I am finalizing. If it does not go out on Friday, it will go out Monday morning, just to make sure I can get everything clean and put together, but no later than Monday is my goal. I did include the Bird City information and the Garden Club's update, so that will all be included in that bulletin as well.
And I've coordinated communications with Koki, so we're not stepping on each other's toes.
Good.
Yeah, that's the update. And then the actual Bird City application will go in late February, early March with a March 15th deadline. And
thank you. And the
have a
resolution was passed by the board on the consent agenda just quite recently. All right. Thank you both for your work on the event and the Bird City status, and all of that keeps coming up every year. Has to be done. All right. Discussion of parkways usage on Edge Hill Parkway. So my apologies, this is on the agenda twice. It's here in number 9 and it's also in 11B. That's my fault. I just wanted to make sure, Annette, that we didn't forget. But the reason I intended really to have it 11B is that to emphasize that it's kind of parks and it's kind of administrative. Yeah, and I know you know this because you've been working on it for months. I'd like to ask Patrick to comment on the tree situation in that little area, and I would also like David after that to comment on the parcel, what is our role, etc. So Patrick, please.
So yeah, I mean, in that area, excuse me, there are 2 planted trees that I believe were planted by Corey, maybe foresters previous to him. One I believe is a hybrid elm, and the other I believe is a Ohio Buckeye. Yeah, I guess I would prefer to keep the Buckeye there. Like, I feel like that is the species there that I would like to keep. I know that the hybrid elm is starting to encroach into the lower crown of the pretty big red oak that may or may not be on village property or that neighbor's property. And I guess speaking to that, that resident recently had Joe House of Treehouse Arbor Science out to their property to perform a sonic wave density test of the red oaks on their property, and they included several trees in that may or may not be village trees, and one of those is that pretty good sized red oak there right next to the bench and the elm. And the results of that finding are quite concerning, depending on what specific trees they tested. I haven't been able to go out and look at the trees yet, but they tested 3 red oaks there on that corner that may be village trees. I believe it's the one covered in the vine right there. The results of their test suggest that the village trees that they tested on that corner have quite a significant amount of internal rot and decay in them.
Ah,
Yes. I don't know if any of you are familiar with sonic wave testing in
I am.
trees. Yeah, so basically these trees were, oh, I want to say it was like a couple hundred microseconds larger than the healthy trees that they tested in the area, or what the baseline is for red oak. Um, and so that would suggest that these trees do have a significant amount of heart rot in them. So that's going to have to be taken into consideration over whether what we do with the parcel. Because if that red oak, if one of those red oaks happens to be one that they tested, and it shows that it's unstable and structurally unsound, then we may need to reconsider we may need to consider like what trees we want to replace that red oak, and I don't necessarily know if I want it to be an Ohio Buckeye. So it's in terms of the trees, I need to do more follow up with Joe House in terms of like what specific individual trees he tested on that corner to ensure that any trees that may fall on village property are healthy and structurally sound. Um, and barring that, if all of those trees turn out to be healthy, I would prefer to keep the Ohio Buckeye on the corner. If that red oak turns out to be not healthy, then I think we need to discuss putting in a more desirable shade tree species there into the corner. Possibly even I mean, I'm right off the bat leaning towards just replacing it with another red oak, but again, that would be up for discussion, I feel. Um, and then other considerations for the spot, I guess I did talk with Terry a little bit about it, the public works director, and just kind of like what his crew guys' thoughts were on the area there. Um, in terms of like material storage, they see a wide range in size or amount of material placed in that area depending upon the season. Um, it's so when I mentioned the bins to him, that was something that he was questionable of, simply because uh bins that would fit in there might not necessarily be able to support the amount of material placed on the parcel during certain times of year, especially leaf season. That's a pretty big leaf collection area, and there's always a pretty significant pile of leaves there. It would be difficult, I think, to contain all of those into a bin while still making it easily accessible to the village crew to get at with their machine. And another thing that he mentioned to me was snow removal and storage there. Um, he just wanted to remind everybody that that is an area that is used for snow storage during the winter time. And so anything like curb lining or anything like that, um, he would prefer it to be more resilient to snowplow and an accumulation of snow in that area. So those are just some considerations, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Patrick. David.
Right. So this is an extra wide village setback. And Patrick, I had shared with you, as well as Lucy McCluskey. The McCluskeys live in the home there on the corner. The original plat map showing the locations of the lot markers. Those would be the metal spikes that you'll find down in the below the soil surface. If you have access to a metal detector, either through Terry's department or your own, you can go out there and explore, look at the map, and then explore from there. But I believe it's about 10 to 15 feet on the side, and from the point back, almost 40 feet. So there's a lot of space. It goes back to those large red oaks. There's also that remnant Madison Metro school, Madison Metro bus park bench that was installed in the 1960s. It was repaired, and it just has to go. It's unsafe, it's filthy, it's rotting. It really terrible. And then we do have those green bins that the crew go around and empty. We have them in Post Farm Park, on Lake Mendota Drive, and other locations around the village. They're mostly used for dog waste refuse. This is a Pelletary bin, and Pelletary will just go up with their lift, and it's always on the edge of the street there. So if we can talk Terry into putting one of our green park bins in there, it can be tucked back a ways from the street. And then there's quite a bit of shrubbery in there. I think there's some honeysuckle and different things. And after the tree situation is worked out and a conversation with the homeowner, you may want to consider some native screening there.
I know that the McCluskeys do have a row of I'm not sure of the species off the top of my head, but they have a row of shrubbery planted along the edge there as well.
Mhm.
So again, we'll have to wait and see where the property line ends up to determine what to do with that.
Yeah.
All right.
The only other comment I have very quickly is we have several of these locations around the village that are extra wide setbacks. We have standard terrace, semi-standard, 10 feet, 15 feet. But there's a few places where they go back 25, 30, or 40 feet. And we pretty much just leave it to the homeowner to manage, and Patrick doesn't really go back and do street side work 40 feet deep into people's yards. So this is kind of a unique situation for us that we're discussing this.
So David, just to clarify, this area that we're looking at, it is not the neighbor's property. It
It's,
is a parkway owned by the village.
yeah. So
So-
Edge Hill Parkway is 1 block wide. At the Edge Hill Drive side, it's close to 150 feet wide. And here it's about 30 feet wide. So
The
homeowners-
setback is absolutely massive on Edge Hill Parkway.
yeah.
Okay.
And we pretty much at the other end of the parkway, we leave to the residents right up to the street curb. This would be really one of the first times we venture well into someone's lawn area.
Okay, you're saying someone's lawn area, but
Yeah.
it's just the setback of the house. It's
No.
not,
Hmm.
I mean, are we on village property or their property?
Let me say the lot line, not setback, I'm sorry. The
Okay.
lot line is 40 feet back from what looks like a curb edge there.
Okay, so this is village parkway land. It's not their lawn, it's not their property. Yeah,
So it goes
okay.
way back there.
Yep.
Um,
So as just evident from both David's report and Patrick's, there's a lot of administrative stuff going on here. And our responsibility is policy. So, what should be the park committees? What are the relevant policies here? I mean, I would suggest that one of them might be to incorporate some native plants in this area to improve the resilience. In addition to the removal that Patrick is, so we can discuss what is the policy that we want to implement here? I see, or that we want to request is implemented. That's our role. Nancy, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I think we have to be very careful when we start talking policy, because if you step right across the street, you'll see a line of telephone poles that are way up on the village residents' lawns. That all is village property.
Mhm.
And it at the corner of Edge Hill and Edge Hill Drive, right down there, that goes way in. It's more than what you're saying, 40 feet or 60 feet. It's because that part of Edge Hill was never made a boulevard. And so all of that property now has been traditionally incorporated in the residents' front yards. So
Mhm.
we have to be very careful about making any kind of commitment to this one small piece when
Mhm.
we have this huge piece on the other side.
I will say, Nancy, that in terms of the other houses there on Edge Hill Parkway, the village does do the maintenance on all of the trees on the street side of the power line. and we maintain we maintain the rain garden with the metal structure inside of it as
Correct.
well. So
Correct.
we still we still have that authority to maintain those areas regardless, and we'll still allowing the residents to do what they would like to do in terms of other parts of the property. So I don't think it would be that far out of the realm if we went to the McCluskeys and, you know, discussed with them the situation with the lot lines and things like that, and came to a similar agreement that we have with the other residents on Edge Hill, that it is an extra large setback and it is in the purview of the village to claim ownership and retain the right to maintain these areas. Well, it can still be a shared area between the residents and the village. So I don't
And
necessarily, yeah. So
And
sorry.
I agree. These are all handshake kind of things.
Yeah.
And but when we started talking about this, all of a sudden it was, we have to get something written and an ordinance or something like this. No, 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 no. Leave it the way it is. It's working. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's just speak to the McCloskeys and we'll settle it there. Okay. That was my say. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Jan.
I'm just a little concerned with, I mean, I didn't know the history of this area other than the bench. I've been here 35 years. I've kind of enjoyed that bench because I don't have any sunshine in my yard and it gets nice afternoon sun. And I used to go down there and wait for my kids, and it is still used as a bus stop for the school bus. So I think it's nice to have a bench there, whether it's that bench or some other bench. And it is really annoying that there's a smelly garbage can right next to it.
Yes.
But I don't know about the yard waste situation, but I think if we could move the garbage can and replace the bench, and yeah, native plantings or whatever, clean that area up. But I would hate to just see it like no one uses it, other than for dumping yard waste on it or snow storage. Because I think every day the kids are waiting there for the bus or being dropped off there. And my kids would hang out there and talk to their friends. And it's a little social area, which is what a park should be. Even though it's tiny for a park. But I also feel like I was instrumental in getting that garbage can there, which is not really what I meant to do. But many years ago, some of us who had dogs at the time and walked our dogs, there was no place to drop off dog waste. And we petitioned the village to put a few garbage cans here and there that would accept dog waste so that we wouldn't have to carry it for miles. And that ended up being one of the places a can was put. I don't know why, but it seems like it's random and not nice to put it next to a bench. I wonder if that part could be revisited, like still have a can, still have a bench, but not next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jan. I'm gonna let Jeremy, and then we're just gonna have to move on because we're gonna have to let Katie out of here. We're
Yeah.
probably gonna have to move to delay a couple of our, well, two of our agenda items until next time. But
I
anyway,
was just going to point
Jeremy.
out, I was looking at Google Maps, and in the Google Maps Street View, the garbage can is over on the other side of that corner. So I think it moves around, and I don't think we have to, accept that it has to be right next to the bench. But anyway, it's a great discussion, and I do think that there's a lot to be said for diplomacy, that when you have a homeowner up against these areas, it's important to include them and make them a very, a very well heard partner in any decision making, while understanding that it is village land, and I think that's a really important part of everything we do with these kind of areas. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. All right. So that is our discussion. Try to figure out how to transmit that to Terry, Brian, whoever else needs to hear. Okay. I am going to entertain a motion to, I think table is going to be the right verb. Item 11 and 10 and 11 until next time. Would
I'm
anybody?
happy to put that motion forward.
All right, thank you. So Jeremy moves to table. Any second?
Second.
Kathy seconds. Thank you. Everybody ready to vote on that? All right. Or
We can
did
have
you
we
want to
can have
discuss?
Now, I would like
Pardon
to.
me?
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear you. Sorry, I couldn't hear Nancy.
Now's the time for discussion.
We were discussing whether to table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The motion is to table this to next month's
until
meeting.
next time, because we got to get Katie out of here. She has to work on another meeting.
Okay.
Could I
we
just
will
ask,
take-
what are we tabling? The discussion we were
Items,
having?
no, items 10 and 11,
I'm sorry, I don't have
the
the.
centennial celebration
Okay.
and the administrative action affecting parks, which we've actually kind of mostly covered anyway. So
Okay. Thank you.
tabling, you're welcome, tabling 10 and 11.
What about 12?
12 is future agenda items. We'll do that super quick. Let's vote on tabling 10 and 11. All in favor? All right, motion carries. Future agenda items. What do we need that's not already on the list?
Quarry Park drainage.
Yep, it's there.
Okay. All right.
Any others?
Weed commissioner.
Weed commissioner, we love that one.
Okay.
Okay. I think that was my responsibility, and I confess I did not pursue that.
Okay.
Okay, any others?
No.
Anyone? All right. I'd entertain motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Okay, Nancy moves, Jeremy seconds. Nancy moves, Jeremy seconds. All in favor? All right, that motion carries. Our next meeting is Tuesday, February 24th, which is actually the same day as the board meeting in February. So we will definitely have to finish a few minutes earlier. But anyway, we're adjourned.
Thank you. For the
Thank
good-
you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Thank
Katie.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Welcome, Ben.
Yeah, welcome, Ben.
welcome. All
Yeah.
right. Good night, everybody.
He's
Have
out.
a good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.